I've always joked with my kids that I didn't get the parenting manual from the hospital because I had home births. But all joking aside, parenting and being a manager, they don't come with a manual. One day you're like, I am crushing this. And the next, you are staring at your team thinking, what the heck is going on right now? I know this because I've been there. And that's why I created today's video called 3 Mental Models to Lead Like a Superhero. Because honestly, managers who can think clearly and untangle messy situations, we feel like we've got superpowers. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by decision fatigue, constant firefighting, or that low-key imposter syndrome whispering in the back of your head, are you sure you're cut out to be a manager? Well, this video is here to help. Welcome to the Modern Manager. I am Amy Camper-Stewart, and every week I share tips and strategies to help you be a rockstar manager with a thriving team. I coach managers who are juggling all the chaos of real life and trying to show up as great leaders for their people. And these 3 mental models, they make everything just a little bit easier. By the end, you'll have a toolkit to cut through the noise and see what really matters. And that way you can lead with more confidence. So let's jump in. Mental model number 1, first principles thinking. This sounds simple, but it's where a lot of us get stuck because we keep reacting to symptoms instead of solving the real problem. First principles thinking is basically stripping down a messy problem to its core and then figuring things out from there. Instead of asking, how do we make our meetings less boring? Ask yourself, why are we having this meeting in the first place? What are we trying to achieve? Because when you focus on the foundation, you generate solutions that actually make a long-term difference, not just trying to make it better in the moment. Think about Superman. He doesn't worry about the people running out of the building or even the fire blazing through the hallways. He knows the core of the issue is whatever villain he is chasing. If he stops the villain, he'll prevent more chaos. He treats the source, not the symptoms. So don't overthink it. Simply asking, what is really going on here? What's the real problem? That's enough to get you thinking in the right direction. And once you're in the habit of simplifying problems and uncovering the root cause, the next step is about seeing the bigger picture. Model number 2, second order thinking. Now that you figured out the heart of the issue, here's where things get real because a lot of mistakes can happen when leaders only think about the immediate effects. Second order thinking means asking, and then what? What happens after this decision plays out? It forces you to consider the ripple effects because we're often so busy just putting out fires and dealing with the day-to-day that we miss the longer-term impact of all of those quick, fast actions that we take. You can tell your team to just work late tonight because we got to hit this deadline. But second order thinking asks, what will this do to our morale? What will it do to burnout or our long-term productivity? I cannot tell you how many times I have failed to pause and consider the long-term impact of what seems like a small decision at the time, and then had to deal with a much bigger issue down the road. My favorite situation, which I still struggle with, I'm tired, I'll just work on this tomorrow. But then I don't check my calendar, or I would have noticed that I had no free time tomorrow to make up this work, which means it's going to get pushed another day. And then I'm going to have to scramble to get this work done, to get it to my client, to get it to my editor, adding even more stress to my life than I would have had I just dealt with it in the first place. And that's not to say that I should have worked late when I was not feeling my best, but there were other options. I could have taken a break and come back to it. I could have moved something around on my calendar for the next day, or I could have gotten in touch with the client just to check in and see if it was okay if we extended the deadline before it was a last-minute urgent thing. This is just a small second-order thinking example, but if these little things can be so impactful, think of what those bigger decisions can do. For this one, think about Dr. Strange. He literally sees millions of possible futures before making one move. That is second-order thinking in action. Not just asking what happens now, but what happens after this. And even if you pause for just 30 seconds to think about the downstream impact, you will make way smarter calls. And that brings us to the third model, the one that helps you act like a superhero in fast-moving situations. Model number 3, the OODA loop. This is a part that a lot of us ignore, and it costs us speed and clarity because in fast-moving situations, waiting for the perfect plan is actually what slows you down. The OODA loop is a decision-making model originally developed by the US Air Force. It stands for observe, orient, decide, act. Basically, a cycle. You look at the situation, you orient by making sense of it, you decide what to do, and then you act. And you loop back again and again as new information comes in. The magic here is that it helps you act faster because you are learning and adjusting in real time. So imagine that your team launches a new product and the first week's sales are disappointing. Instead of panicking or blaming or trying to change everything, you run an OODA loop. Observe. Sales are low. Orient. Could it be our pricing, our messaging, or the channels we're going through? Decide. Pick one thing to test, like a new email campaign, and then act. Send it out. Then run the loop. Did it move the needle? This way, you're not stuck. You're not doing too much. You're adapting and learning as you go. In this case, think about Spider-Man. He doesn't wait around making perfect battle plans. He observes the villain, orients the environment, decides in the moment, and acts. And because he's looping quickly, he stays ahead of the villain even amidst the chaos. He's not wedded to any single approach. He is learning and reacting based on what's happening. You don't need to nail it on the first try. The OODA loop gives you permission to act, learn, and pivot without overthinking, especially for us perfectionists, because progress beats perfection every time. Now you've got 3 models that can help you simplify, anticipate, and adapt, which honestly is what superhero leadership looks like. So to recap, you can get to the root cause like Superman with first principles thinking. You've got second order thinking, which helps you avoid stepping on landmines down the road, like Doctor Strange. And the OODA loop. It helps you move fast without losing clarity, giving you total Spider-Man energy. And now the real magic happens, because when you can apply these consistently with your team, and really, that's where a lot of us fall short, because we know all of this stuff, but we don't know how to build habits around them. So here's my suggestion for your next move. Check out my video, Want to Build Habits That Stick? It'll show you how to weave changes like this into your day-to-day, so you don't just sound smart and you don't just know all this stuff, but you actually lead smarter. I'll link it right here and in the description. Go watch that next because these tools are powerful, but the habits, that is where you become the superhero leader that your team actually needs. Now hit that subscribe button before you leave so you never miss a video, and I'll see you next time.